Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I just want to thank you guys so much for being here with me again today. Um, I just want to give you guys, I guess, a warning. I am going to do my best to get through this with little disruptions, but I have a brand new kitten and she is demanding a lot of my attention right now. So, like I said, I'll do my best to get through without many disruptions, but just please bear with me. What it was like the first 30 days after leaving my marriage. And I did write some notes, so I will be referencing some important things that I wanted to know. Um, you know, the first 30 days after leaving, you have to remember that, you spent probably more than a decade, if you're anywhere, where I was, leaving a marriage that you'd been in for, over 10 years. You had spent that long, like building a home, a family, just routines, obviously memories, and an identity around, being someone's wife. And I don't want to say catering to them, but, just learning how to live your life based off of not just your own needs, but somebody else's, especially if you have kids too. Like, they obviously demand a lot of your time, and your life is much different when you were married and had a partner there to help you with the demands of children versus doing it on your own. But, for me, it was like I had to figure out who I was without my marriage. And not perfectly, not gracefully, every day I just had to survive. And if you're in those first few weeks after leaving your marriage, please just know that you guys have your entire life, to build what you want, so don't feel like you have to have it all figured out right this minute. Just take it slow and know that you have plenty of time to alter, change, whatever you want to do as far as your new life goes. For me, it was like I just did what I had to do to get through that day. I didn't worry about tomorrow. I grieved, the life that I had built. But I knew I had to take it one day at a time, and I had to let myself grieve. The life in the future that I imagined and the family dynamic, it was a lot different than what I was used to. Obviously, after leaving, it was a whole new life I had to get used to. And I want you guys to know that you can know that something in your life is unhealthy for you and still miss that, so you can know that the relationship you're in is not good for you, but it doesn't mean you're not going to miss that relationship or that life that you built. I mean, we're human, it's only natural, I feel, and normal for us to. So don't beat yourself up, around like, or feel like there's something wrong with you, if you do miss that life. One of the next things that I wanted to talk about was, just focus on your next step. What's next for you? Healing, it's built through a very small decision that at the time and in the moment, it may not feel so big. Just choosing to get up, and even if it's just getting up and that day brushing your teeth, maybe combing your hair, it's just taking it one step at a time and trying to do better every day than you did the day before. One of the other things too was, really choosing not to give in and call your ex-spouse. And I know for me it was hard because I wanted more than anything to call and talk to him about the feelings that I was having, because for so many years he was my best friend, you know, he was my go-to for everything. So it was very strange, you know, getting used to not being able to call him and discuss, you know, the feelings that I was having. But, you know, being strong and knowing that you don't want to go backwards, you want to keep moving forwards. I know I've said it in my past videos, finding that trusted source. And, you know, I highly recommend, if it's a very good friend who's neutral to the situation, or, you know, a counselor, therapist, to be able to get, you know, out those feelings. It's just one step at a time, and it's one decision at a time. You want to create new routines for yourself. Make plans, spend time with people who love you. You know, that was one thing that really helped me with getting through the first 30 days, was spending time with my friends that knew what I was going through and wanted to be there for me, and, you know, showed me that I wasn't alone, because I felt so alone. And, you know, honestly, don't expect yourself to be okay every single day. Don't. Because some days, for me, I felt strong, I felt confident. Other days, I questioned everything and I cried. It was just, you know, more or less just feeling lonely, or being angry, or feeling confused. But bad days didn't mean that I was going backwards. It just meant that I was human, and I'm gonna have bad days. You guys, it's not a straight line, and I don't care how much you want to try to control and you know, and tell yourself, you know, I'm gonna give myself a week and I'm gonna be in this spot, or I'm gonna feel this way, or I'm gonna do that. You know, take it one day at a time. Really, you guys, don't rush it. Because I did do that. You know, I was like, I'm not gonna sit here for months on end, you know, being upset, crying day in and day out. But really, I had to get through that. Like, there was no way around it other than going through it. So, and then also too, I wanted to say, I would have like a really good day, let's say, and I would feel like I was making really good progress. The very next morning, I'd wake up and it would be like, oh my God, I woke up like it was the very next day I left. Like, I was right back to where I started, I felt like, you know? And you're gonna have those moments, you're gonna have those days. And it's normal, guys. It's all a part of grieving and getting through. And I'm not sure if you've heard this or not, I'm sure you have, but there is no time limit on grieving. It's whatever it takes for you. Nobody's the same, and everyone grieves differently. And losing your marriage is a lot like, in my opinion, losing a loved one. You know, really, I mean, you're losing somebody that you spent so much of your time with, and obviously you love them. So one of the other things I did too was, like, I started reconnecting with myself. So what does that look like? For me, it was, who am I now? Who is Ashley today? What do I want to do? What do I like? What are some of the things that make me happy? And then also, it's like, what kind of life do I want to rebuild? Like, what kind of life do I want to build? Not even rebuild, but like build for myself, you know? I get to make the decisions. There's nobody else that I have to take into consideration, you know, with choosing what kind of life I want. I mean, obviously, yes, for, you know, my children, but, you know, I'm just saying, like, I didn't have to think about my significant other when making certain decisions. Yeah, just really start to, like, reconnect with who you are and find who you are at your core. Another thing too, was, for me, was journaling. Being able to write out my feelings and get it out on paper. And it wasn't even so much like, I didn't reread what I wrote. I hardly ever do, but it was just like being able to get those feelings out without having to verbally express them. But it was more or less just being able to get it out of me. there were even times when I would journal and write things down, maybe like a feeling I was having that day or in that moment, and I would burn that piece of paper, you know, and for me it was like just kind of releasing that, like letting it go. That I would suggest you guys try. Obviously, make sure you're in a safe place where you're able to burn a piece of paper. You don't want to do it indoors, or, you know, be safe, guys. And then also, like, allowing myself to be proud. Be proud of who I was becoming. And, you know, it's not about how long it's taking me to get through this and heal, but it's being proud of every single day that I wake up and choose to keep moving forward. You know, because I'm telling you guys, for me, the first 30 days after leaving was the absolute hardest. It was the worst. It was agonizing some days. It was pain. I literally sometimes would close my eyes at night and not want to wake up to feel it again. Like, I could not wait to go to sleep so I didn't have to feel my heartache anymore. But, you know, going through that and really taking it one day at a time and learning how to cope and get through that, look back on those days, guys, those really tough days, and be proud of yourself, because it's not easy and you did it. You made it through. So be one of the things that was really difficult for me was loving myself. And I didn't have a lot of love for myself, if any, especially towards the end before I left my marriage. One of the things I remember my ex-husband telling me a lot was, he used to tell me, I want you to learn how to love yourself and, you know, truly know what that feels like. And to me, it was like, I didn't need to. It was like I had plenty of love for everyone else. You know, I didn't have to worry about loving myself. And then I would even question myself, like, what does that even look like? What does that feel like? And it's years later, like now today, I can honestly say, for the first time probably in my entire life, you guys, I know what it feels like to love myself. I truly know what that means and what it feels like, not just to say it, but feel it. And I cannot even explain to you how amazing that feels, because I don't need somebody else there to do it for me. And that's good enough for me. That's all I need. I don't need a partner to love me and make me feel loved. I'm good with doing it on my own. Now, I'm not saying that I don't ever want to have a partner again, but I'm absolutely in no rush, let's just say. What else? Yeah, more than anything, really just like, I want you guys to, you know, going back to being proud of yourself, be proud of, you know, the days where you survived feeling lonely, you know, the days you survived having so much uncertainty. And those two things, being lonely and uncertain, it's a very scary place to be. And it takes a lot of strength to make it through some of those uncertain, lonely days. And, you know, I would lean on people that I loved and trusted, and, you know, that wanted to be there for me. But then there were days where it was like, I didn't want to be around anybody. Like, I felt so depressed. Like, I didn't want to be around anyone, because I'm like, I feel so depressed. I feel so ucky and just so ugly, and not saying physically ugly, but just like inside. It was like, why do I want to go be around someone else and, you know, drag them down and bring my negative energy around them? And, you know, what I was going through was like, I didn't want anyone else to have to suffer or feel that pain. Even though, of course, obviously, guys, when you lean on a trusted friend, someone who loves you, just know that they are doing those things for you and being there for you as a friend because they love you, not because they have to, because they want to. So just remember that. And I say that because that was something that was very hard for me to realize in the moment and remember. I was very hard on myself. And I still am at times in my life. I think I expect so much more out of me than I think I want anyone else to. So I am a little bit harder on myself. And I think that's probably maybe a little normal, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, guys, just really be proud of how far you've come. And, you know, I recommend like writing down some of the moments that you can recall where, you know, it was so difficult to get through that moment, but you did it. And what did you do to get through that? Because you might need to reflect back on those notes, or, you know, getting through another one of those moments down the road. Because I'm telling you, it is like it's a cycle of emotions, right? It's not, I mean, yeah, the most difficult, but you're gonna have days where it's gonna feel like you're starting all over again. But you guys, just remember, you're not going backwards, you're only moving forward. And one of the things that always kept me moving forward is, one of my sisters told me this, and it stuck with me. It has stuck with me years after, you know, many years after she's told me this, but it helped me. And one of the things she said to me was, she said, Ashley, time doesn't stop. Time will never stop. It will always keep moving forward. It's not going to stop for anyone, for anything. It's going to keep going. Time goes on, that you're just one step closer to the new life, to the new you, to the new, you know, future that you get to rebuild. And look forward to that. If you have anything to look forward to, let it be that little glimpse of hope, that at least you know you're not stuck where you are right then and there. Time's going to keep going, and you're going to get through it. I just want to say in closing, guys, just know that going through this for the first 30 days, you don't have to be okay. Even after 30 days, you don't have to be okay yet, guys. I mean, you take it at your pace. You don't have to have all the answers, because you're not going to. And most definitely, you don't need to know what your future looks like. I highly recommend you guys live in the present, live in the now. Don't worry about the past, and certainly don't worry about the future, because you can't predict the future. You can only handle what you're dealing with and going through today. And why would you want to put that stress on you of worrying about the future? I don't even want to worry about that. Like, so just remember that, okay? Also know that you're allowed to be sad, scared, angry. You're allowed to miss that person. And in the end, you can still choose yourself. You're allowed to have all those feelings and still choose you, okay? And just know, guys, this is not about becoming a completely new person. It's simply just remembering that you're still here. And sometimes that's enough. That's just enough. That's all you need. One day you're going to look back at the version of yourself who was trying to survive, and, you know, you're going to realize that all along you are already beginning to rebuild yourself, and you were becoming stronger. You were becoming someone new. And, you know, you're not the person that you used to be. And you're not that woman that you thought you lost. Because, you know, you actually, the best way to put this, you may feel like maybe you liked the version of who you were during your marriage, and that's okay. You know, I mean, that's wonderful. But I don't want you to feel like going through this experience is changing every single aspect of who you are, because you're still who you are at your core, okay?